Hi, my name is Brian Hoyer. I'm a GeoVital consultant in the United States. I'm also a nutritional therapy practitioner certified by the Nutritional Therapy Association. I utilize many different types of testing in my office, including reflex points, applied kinesiology, autonomic response testing, and other functional nutrition tests to determine organ function and build customized protocols for people who see me in person or online. I use both my geobiology training and nutrition knowledge in my practice to get at the root causes of chronic symptoms that people are experiencing and to find proper supportive solutions to help the body do what it is designed to do naturally. Every person's body always wants to heal. Now, we live in a world that has progressed rapidly in just 150 years. Our food has fundamentally changed. Not only has it been industrialized, sprayed with pesticides and processed in ways like never before, it is also being genetically modified to contain toxins that our bodies don't even recognize as food. In addition to food problems, there is also an environmental problem. When most people think of environmental stressors, they think of chemicals, mold, mildew, heavy metals, and maybe even something like nuclear radiation. This is all pretty obvious because you can see, smell, taste many of these things. The most deceptive environmental bodily stressor of all, though, is this low-level man-made radiation. Scientists estimate that humans get 30 to 100 million times more of the amount of electromagnetic radiation than just 100 years ago. Now, much like modern processed foods, our bodies have never experienced many of these electromagnetic fields before. And when electricity was invented several hundred years ago, we definitely were not exposed and definitely not at the levels that we have today.
2,500, 2,800.
25 and 2,800.
Went up to 3,000.
There are many studies that show the effects of electromagnetic radiation, but a topic that has many studies done on it is the way that electromagnetic radiation interferes with melatonin. They do this by physiologically confusing the hypothalamus and pituitary, both of which depend on light frequencies to get information about what time of day it is in order to send proper instructions to the adrenal glands, to the pineal gland, the thyroid gland, etc. Now, light is actually a part of the electromagnetic spectrum. We need certain types of light at certain times of the day to tell us which hormones to produce. Reducing both artificial light and electromagnetic radiation at night can be immensely helpful in optimizing the secretion of melatonin from the pineal gland. Melatonin is the primary antioxidant that the nervous system uses to detox the brain and repair and prevent cell and DNA damage in the entire body. Now, during sleep, the brain's flooded with melatonin to sweep toxins away via the glymphatic system. The glymphatic system is the central nervous system's cleanup crew. During sleep, brain cells shrink and provide space for extracellular toxins to be mopped up and pumped out of the brain to the liver and the kidneys where they can be properly excreted. This is why sleep is so important. Anything that we can do to optimize melatonin levels or support the body in the ways that melatonin does, that would be very beneficial. Now, some might say, hey, why not use melatonin and supplement with melatonin itself? There are several reasons to think twice before supplementing with melatonin. Most oral melatonin comes in a peptide form that does not cross the blood-brain barrier. You can protect the rest of the body through the gut, but not the brain. If oral melatonin does work for a person and it seems to have an effect on their sleep and in their brain, that could be a sign of a compromised blood-brain barrier, probably due to excess electromagnetic radiation or artificial light exposure at night. Now, liposomal melatonin is nanonized, and so it is small enough that it does cross the blood-brain barrier, but that brings up the next issue concerning melatonin supplementation. The more relevant reason to avoid or limit melatonin use is because it is a hormone. every hormone has a negative feedback loop back to the brain, and it has information that is channeled through your hypothalamus. And the hypothalamus is a gland that regulates hormone production by monitoring levels of various hormones in the whole body and communicating with the corresponding glands on how much of each specific hormone to produce. Now, if a person continually takes melatonin, he or she is effectively telling the hypothalamus, hey, the pineal gland is producing plenty of melatonin, and so the body halts or ends up slowing the production. Now, as GeoVital likes to emphasize, we are in the business of providing solutions, not covering up symptoms. So keeping that in mind, I just want to emphasize that using any supplements and supplementing in any way does not replace shielding. Shielding actually removes the electromagnetic radiation stressor. Supplementation sort of allows your body to more easily manage the stress. You could say that nutrients help with damage control. The difference could be compared to trying to stay dry in the rain. Shielding's like an umbrella or a poncho that you have that's being used to keep the rain off of your clothes and your body. Supplementation would be more like carrying a towel around with you and kind of wiping it off as you go to keep the water off and keep you from being wet. A towel helps, but it's not really a long-term solution to the problem. If you're out in the rain for a long time, the towel sits and gets wet and kind of becomes less effective the longer that you are exposed. If you experience an immense downpour of rain, the towel again becomes very ineffective very quickly. It's the same way with supplementation for radiation versus shielding against the radiation. The body can only repair damage so fast, whereas shielding drastically reduces or stops the damage from happening altogether. Blocking the radiation allows the body to do much deeper healing when the nighttime rolls around and the lymphatic system is able to be activated during your sleep. Now, that said, there are some nutrients that have been shown to be effective for assisting the body in handling electromagnetic radiation by supporting systems that are disrupted by them. One of the most intriguing substances to supplement with is Propolis. And that's a sticky resin that is actually made by bees. Now, it's especially interesting to me because bees absolutely can't stand man-made radiation. Now, and they make this resin in their hives, and it is highly antibacterial, antifungal, and even antiviral. The very best kind of propolis is Brazilian green propolis extract. This company BioPure makes it. And there's available studies on propolis out there in the literature, and they focus on a particular makeup of this propolis, also known as CAPE, which stands for caffeic acid phenethyl ester. Now, CAPE actually crosses the blood-brain barrier and has a melatonin-like effect on the brain and the body tissues, so it's a detoxifying-like effect. Do note that if you are allergic to bees, though, you should probably ask your healthcare provider if propolis is even a good idea, or it might be a problem for you. Another supplement that you can take is rosemary extract. It's a potent antioxidant that's especially helpful before bed. Dr. Klinghardt in Seattle, who I spent some time with, uses rosemary extract in his practice for children with autism. And he's found that it helps those children to calm down, get restful sleep, and even aids in dealing with the electromagnetic radiation burden on the body and on the brain. Another supplement that's very helpful is curcumin or turmeric, ginger, and black pepper. Those three are kind of a trifecta. Together they work synergistically for absorption. It's best not to take this at night because it can be a little bit stimulating. It's best used during the day or between meals or even during meals. In fact, you can even buy those spices and use them to spice up your food for a little curry or an Indian type of flavor to your food. Now, all the macronutrients and the micronutrients that your body needs to deal with all of these stressors can only be used when they are bioavailable. So what that means is a person could eat a pristine, organic, free-range, biodynamic, nutrient-dense, whole food diet, but if the person is not digesting it, then it's doing you absolutely no good. So the food is basically going straight through you, and your body is not utilizing the nutrients of all this awesome food that you just spent so much money on. So you have to optimize digestion to get a good bang for your buck. I recommend working with a nutritional therapy practitioner or another qualified practitioner on this, so your body can use the nutrients it receives from both food and supplements. Now, L-tryptophan is an amino acid. Let's get back to some of these supplements. L-tryptophan is an amino acid that is a precursor to melatonin. So to digest any of these amino acids, you must have proper stomach acid and also proper enzyme levels to make the tryptophan bioavailable so that your body has the resources to produce melatonin. If you aren't digesting your amino acids well because of low stomach acid or low enzymes or a leaky gut or something of the sort, then you won't have the resources available to make adequate amounts of melatonin. So tryptophan can be found in things like turkey. It's the biggest one. That's why you might get sleepy after that Thanksgiving meal. You can also get it in a supplement form called 5-HTP. It has a calming and an anti-anxiety effect. Now, there's other things like minerals can also be very helpful. Zinc, here's some zinc, has been shown in studies to help mitigate the negative effects of electric and magnetic radiation. Those are ELF, or extremely low frequency radiation. And there was a study that showed that it helped prevent lipid oxidation in the brains of rats. Also, a full spectrum of minerals, trace minerals, can be helpful, and they're important to mitigate stress response from electromagnetic radiation exposure. That's what this is cell food. It has a bunch of trace minerals in it. You can put this in your water. Magnesium, potassium, and calcium are also important for cellular metabolic processes and stress responses. This is a particular type of magnesium called magnesium orotate. And then there's also transdermal forms that you can use that you can actually apply on your skin. I like to put this one on my kidneys at night. And you just put like a little pea-sized amount on it. Okay, and then there's also selenium and iodine are very synergistic minerals for the thyroid gland, and they're also potent antioxidants. Iodine is famously used for protecting against radioactive radiation, but it also has an electromagnetic radiation protective effect on your cells. So basically any antioxidant protection that you can add in will help melatonin in its job of mopping up all the free radicals that are created from the electromagnetic stress during the day. Good antioxidants to add in are vitamin C. Good sources of vitamin C would be rose hips, tea, organic oranges, limes, lemons, other citrus fruits. Very high antioxidant content is in vitamin E. Some food sources of vitamin E are sunflower seeds, almonds, spinach, avocado. Glutathione is another very potent antioxidant that your body makes, and there are transdermal creams of glutathione. One that I like is by Apex Energetics called Oxycell, where you can get a liposomal form of glutathione, many brands of that. Another very potent antioxidant is astaxanthin, and you can find that in pill form, or in food you can find it in wild-caught salmon, krill oil, or shrimp. Now there are many, many other nutrients and foods that can work. In my opinion, it's best when starting any new supplement protocol to have them tested for compatibility with organ-specific kinesiology testing, or using a process called lingual neural testing and reflex points, where you put the nutrient on the tongue and then touch the reflex point, and you get a response from the client about how much pain there is or tenderness there is in that reflex point. Okay, so that's really important to find out what supplement is appropriate and will work for your specific bioindividuality. Sometimes things work for one person, but they won't work for another because of a sensitivity, allergen, or the simple fact that the person's already sufficient in that nutrient. I found this very important for my practice and my help with clients, not to waste money on supplements that don't work for them specifically. Again, all of these nutrients covered are a great way to support your body when exposed to unavoidable electromagnetic radiation during the day, and they can be supportive for nighttime exposure. However, they do not replace radiation protection or shielding, but they can be supportive to an individual who's exposed to electromagnetic radiation. Okay, so to more fundamentally make changes in your life that can help you on all fronts and maximize chances of health recovery or optimization, you must take steps to address radiation, especially in the bedroom, by either shielding or radiation elimination, so that you can enable the body to do what it was designed to do. I hope this helps you guys, all these tips on nutrition. I hope that they were helpful, and if my colleagues or I are able to assist you with your home and health, we'd be happy to hear from you. Thanks.